Mike from 285. So earlier on tonight, I was downloading repos or getting ready to download repos in preparation for midterms, and I've noticed that there's quite a few groups that are using repos that do not have a gitignore file correctly configured or do not have a gitignore file at all. This is a problem for a couple of different reasons, and in this video I'm going to show you why that's a problem, and I'm going to show you how to go about fixing it if it's a problem with your group. So over here in Visual Studio, I've created an empty project. It is a web API, and I have added absolutely nothing. It's a completely empty project that was created from Visual Studio. And if I go over here into my File Explorer, where this program is stored locally on my machine, and I get some information about that folder, I'll see that it's taking up 10.2 megs of information. And because I do not have a gitignore file, all that is being passed up to my repo, and that means that all of my team members are going to be downloading it whenever they push and pull. Now, as I start adding in more NuGet packages, more references, more content for my project, it's going to mean that all of my team members would have to download, push, and pull all of that stuff too. And it's going to mean that you might have to wait quite a while before you're able to go ahead and, well, quite a while between pushing and pulling. That's bad. But if I were to open up this repo that I've created that does not have a gitignore file attached to it, I'll see that there's a funky looking folder that has a user prefs file that has user preferences that are unique to my machine. That's a problem because you don't want to be sharing that stuff. My user preferences are unique to my machine, and your user preferences are going to be unique to your machine. A gitignore file is going to make it to where you don't upload all that to your repo. The only thing you'd be uploading is going to be your source code, and that's the way it should be. And then each one of your team members have their own set of NuGet packages. They have their own set of references for those NuGet packages that are unique to their machine, and blah blah blah. So we see that we've created a repo and we've been screwing up. We'll see how we can go about fixing it. I'm going to go ahead and minimize out of my browser right now, and I'm going to actually go over here to Visual Studio, and I'm going to close this out. And I'm going to go over to my File Explorer. Let me close out my source control program too. I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to take the project that I have on my machine locally. I'm going to copy it, and I'm just going to paste that copy over here onto my desktop temporarily. There we go. I'm going to go in this folder, and I'm going to delete everything that's in this project right now. Everything is deleted. I'm going to go back to my source control program, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to push these changes. I want to push all this stuff. Let me go ahead and maximize this screen. I'm going to push all this stuff. I'm deleting everything from this repo. Make a commit message, delete all from repo so that I can create a GitHub, or a gitignore rather, and be super cool. I'm going to push those changes immediately to my master. I'm going to commit, and there we go. I'm going to close out this window right now. I'll go back over here to my browser, and I will verify that after clicking on my repo, look, everything's gone from it, so that's super good. Now, I want to create a gitignore file. What is a gitignore file? A gitignore file is just a text file that has references. It has a whole bunch of stuff. It says, here's what you do not put on the repo. Only thing that you want on a repo is source code. Anything that's not source code, do not add it to this repo. And that gitignore file basically defines all that stuff. Now I could go over here to create a new file. I could say gitignore. Now it's going to be .gitignore for the name of the file. I could use a template that GitHub provides for me. But what if I go ahead? What if my project has two different technologies? What if I have Visual Studio for my back end and, let's say, Angular for my front end? It doesn't give me multiple different IDEs, or maybe it does, I don't know, but I'm not going to trust GitHub to create my gitignore for me. I'm going to go to a website called gitignore.io, and because I'm using Visual Studio for my back end, I'll type in Visual Studio. Because I'm using Angular for my front end, I'll type in Angular, and let's just add in Java just for the hell of it. Let's say that we had a Java component, or better yet, a JavaScript component. Does it not have JavaScript? Oh, I'll put in Node. It has Node. So let's say we're using those three technologies for our overall project. I would hit the Create button, and here is whole bunch of text that I can just highlight in my web browser, copy, and I'll go over here to GitHub. I'll paste it. Commit file, it automatically gives me a message, create a gitignore. That's fine. I'm going to commit that to my master branch. And now we have a gitignore correctly configured for our repo, which is super cool. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to minimize that. I'm going to minimize my file explorer. I'm going to go to my source control and I'm going to pull, because I want to have that gitignore file on my machine. So I've pulled. I'm up to date with the current status of the repo. All of that is super good. I'm going to minimize my source control program. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to take my old project that I pasted temporarily to my desktop. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to close that window out. I'm going to go back to File Explorer and I'm going to go to where the project is sitting on my machine that's empty except for that gitignore we just created. You don't see it on the screen right now. It's there. That's a Mac thing. If I were on a Windows machine showing this to you, you would actually see the file, and you can see it in Mac, but you just got to configure it. I can't be bothered to. I'm going to paste my old project in here. All super good. I'm going to go back to my source control program. I'm going to commit. I'm going to type in a committing gitignore successfully configured. I'm going to say push immediately to master. I'm going to commit. And it doesn't do any complaining. Looks like we did a good job. I'm going to go back over here to my repo and I'm going to verify that. So yeah, there's our commit right there. If I open this up, no funky folders anymore with unique user preferences. If I were to open up this folder, no more folders that have binaries that have been created whenever I was testing. Everything is super cool. Now, one more thing real quick before I stop this video. It's very, very important that I tell you, you have to go ahead and communicate with your entire group. If they were to go ahead and push an old version of this because they didn't know about this issue onto your new version, there are probably going to be problems. So they're going to need to delete their local copy. They're going to need to download the new copy. They are going to need to manually put any kind of changes that they might have made since then onto the new copy and then push the copy of the new copy that they downloaded. I hope all of that is clear. Contact me if you have any questions. Please get this done as soon as possible so that I can continue testing repos for midterms. Thanks a bunch, guys.